remain front line till the Lord call my number. I be that one you could remember. Hey, yo. I be that one you could remember. Hey, yo. I be that one you could remember. But I remain front line till the Lord call my number. It's love, peace, and love, family. Welcome to another edition of Moorish World TV, where your host turned up, and he's a Moorish American. I'm not the type of Moorish American that you're used to, so you're going to have to get used to it. It is what it is. I'm not the type that you're used to. Anyway, shout out to everybody, man, that's coming into the chat, man. We're going to turn up just a little bit, man. This is going to get exciting. Let me get my throat fight. You know, I've been yelling. Y'all know I like to yell, man. Some people be telling me I need to stop yelling so much, man. Listen. I'm working on it. But I get excited. Like today. Like I'm super excited, right? Check this out. First and foremost, let me rise and give praise to the great God of the universal law. Let me give honor to his noble, illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because I'm telling y'all, listen, I'm going to tell y'all like I used to tell the fake tough guys back in the day. Some people should thank Prophet Noble Drew Ali, even if they don't know him. They should thank him, because the old me is the one that you don't want to see. Like the old me, if I would have met Noble Drew Ali by the wisdom through the cosmos, through the ethers, man, it was an old me. Man, so thank Noble Drew Ali for finding me and bringing me to the new me. Because that old me, man, y'all don't want to see him, man. I see them tough guys, man. That old me, man, used to like that. That was his comfort zone. You know, so let's everybody thank Allah, the creator. Why would you choose your infinite source of life for the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for making him more like me? Whether you believe in him or not, he made a difference in the world by making a difference in me. Man, I want to give honor to the guests on the panel. Special honor to Ishmael Bey, because he always come through in the clutch. You know what I mean? He be wearing that little what's that team, man? He be wearing all the time, man. Got the little bird on there. Y'all know what I'm talking. I ain't gonna promote his little team. You know what I mean? But he be coming through the clutch, right? You know what I'm saying? With some magic. And this week, man, he brings some magic, man. Malik Zulu Shabazz, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Listen, when real men big up real men, we don't call it that punk stuff like jock riding, you know how they do, all that old slick stuff. When real men big up real men, we just big up real men. As Jay said, I'm bigging up my brother because I'm big enough to do it. Something like that. Y'all know how the line go. I'm bigging up my brother. But Malik Zulu Shabazz is a walking, talking testament to the experience of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Now, I don't know if you know young people know anything about Dr. Khalid, but let me tell you, let me do my rendition. But now, hey, Malik and Ishmael, just wait for me, folks. Give me a sec.
Yes, sir. Your show, man.
Get the children out the room real quick. This is not Tahaka Bey. This is Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Coming out of with the plantation, cutting white folks and killing white folks and slicing white folks. Oh, I messed that one. Hold on. Let's try it. Sister Heard, she would cock a pistol. She said, Big Bubba, either you turn it around, either you going to freedom, or you going in the ground. And old Sister Heard would cock a pistol on her. She had two guns. Oh, let me do one more. And God damn it, I dig him up and I shoot in the ground and kill him again because he didn't die hard enough. That's Dr. Khalid Muhammad, man. In the spirit of Dr. Khalid, man. Peace and love, man. The struggle must go on. And struggle is ordained, and so we're gonna get there. So let me let my guests, let me stop acting crazy, you know what I mean? But I tell you, man, the spirit Dr. Khalid, man, you gotta shoot in the ground, man, because they didn't die hard enough. You know? That's where, let me tell you something. I think that's where I got a lot of my aggressive energy from. You know what I mean? When a Moorish American, listen, most Moorish Americans want to be intellectual. I really don't want to be that. I'm not interested in that. I'm really not. I'm interested in being who I am. You see what I'm saying? So you ain't gonna never see me come on. Well, you know, I read back in 1864, the proclamation at that time, man, listen. I'm talking about this time right now. And this is the purpose of having Malik Zulu Shabazz on the show tonight. We talk about this time right now. How can we bridge the gap? And what can we do to forge that unity? Even though we may not see things alike, philosophically, the goal remains the same. The goal remains the same. So with that, let's bring in the guests. Let me first allow my co-host. Let me allow my co-host, Ishmael Bey, to come in, and I allow him to introduce our brother and friend, the attorney, the esteemed Malik Zulu Shabazz. Ishmael Bey, the floor is yours. How you doing, brother? Let's get it.
I'm doing fine, brother. I'm doing fine. I want to thank you so much.
I messed up. Let me bring in the Rakim Allah of the conscious community. And the reason why I say that, because he's so smooth. You know, Rakim say smooth because I don't get upset. I yelled at Ishmael Bey a couple times. We went back and forth a couple times, and he just never got upset. So I call him the Rakim Shabazz, Rakim Allah of the conscious community. So, because he's smooth, he don't get upset. So let me introduce Ishmael Bey, also known as the Rakim Allah of the conscious community. Okay, Ishmael Allah Bey, the floor is yours. I do it.
Peace, God. I want to thank you so much for having us on tonight. I think it's very important. I mean, so important for us to have a conversation of dialogue and to find out what the avenues of unity, how far it goes and how far it's going to span. And I think that the proper person that can put it into perspective of exactly what the Black nation needs at this time, it comes in the person, soldiers, and attorney, Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz. I feel as if Dr. Shabazz has done more than enough time of the community and knowing what is going to be in the best interest of the community. And one of the most important things that Attorney Shabazz is focusing on is getting a firm brotherhood and sisterhood with the Moors. And I think that many times that relationship gets either put on the back burner or is just not put as a priority for one reason or another. But I do know for a fact that it was very, very important to Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I do know for a fact that it was many times that Dr. Khalid would be having conversation with Moors and me being at that table and me having discussions with him and me knowing what his ultimate vision was as far as forging a relationship between the Moors as well as every other African group in America and intercontinental. So I think that the best of his students, his top student, his top brother, and one that he trusted with his life over and over and over again, was Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz, which was the top of what he produced. So I think that for you to open up your platform, brother, to have a conversation on this particular topic, I see it as divine. I see it as an opportunity for you, and I see it for an opportunity of Moors to get a better understanding of what the overall objective is, not only from Dr. Khalid, but what we need to do here and what we need to do now. So as our brother comes back into the conversation, it will be my pleasure to be just one of the vessels that's bridging that gap. And then for Moors that are forward thinking and progressive and willing to put in the work, not someone who's just going to stand on the sideline and be a critique freak. Those days are over. If you're just going to sit down on the sideline and pontificate and do absolutely nothing, you're not invited. But if you're willing to take just one step forward for the people and to make sure that the next generation can move forward, then we embrace you with open arms, because where we're going is going to be very, very important. And I think you're really going to enjoy it, Brother Tarka. And you know, you have your college stories and of how he influenced you, and I have my college stories of how he influenced me. And for me to be able to, you know, be influenced by him at an early age in the '80s, you know, it was really shaping. You know, it was shaping to be a single man and to be in contact with someone like Khalid Muhammad, being able to identify who you are and to just be there as a sounding board if maybe you just have a quick question about something, or he comes through your city and you're Muslims in the ranks of the Nation of Islam. And as you move up in the ranks, you get closer and closer to the older ministers. So me being an assistant minister, you learn so much coming up through the minister ranks of the Nation of Islam. And Khalid was the top example, or one of the top examples, that we could always see and touch, and have him come to your city and have dinner with him and ask questions. One of the most important things that I learned, brother, was to be silent. Be silent and learn and observe and humble yourself. And then if he trusted you enough to pour any type of wisdom into you, it's life-changing, because you're studying him by not even speaking to him. You're studying him by following examples. And one of the most important aspects of what Khalid represented was diplomacy. You know, I have a lot of different friends in a lot of different walks of life. And these relationships were forged by an example that was laid by Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. You know, he had relationships. He could go to any Black organization in any group and be well respected, and be able to mount the podium and be able to talk and to be able to share an aspect of his life. So how was it that Dr. Khalid influenced you, Brother Taharka? How were you influenced by his example?
Man, let me share something with you, man. Back in the day, right? Way back, man. I wish I could call my brother right now, man. Me and my brother, back in the day, long time ago. Another lifetime ago. Me and my brother, and I call him my brother because we went through a whole bunch, we went through tons of things together. And me and him used to listen to Dr. Khalid Muhammad tapes over and over and over again. Two things we listened to back in the day was Dr. Khalid and Wu-Tang Clan. Those two, I'm not playing. Oh, I'm gonna give it to you. Well, no, never. And the next one we played was Dr. Khalid. And then Tupac came after that. But in that order. And he was in the Nation. I was in the Moorish Temple of America. We was both young. I did not like Brothers in the Nation. I'll be factual with you. At that time, but I loved him and I loved Khalid. I didn't understand that. Me and Brothers in the Nation used to already go to war. But me and him never had conflict. And everything Khalid said was right and exact. I was real young then. So what Dr. Khalid, he influenced me in such a way that I think he influenced me just to be me, because he didn't sugarcoat anything. He didn't sugarcoat it. Either you liked it or you didn't. I mean, he went up against, now some people might not like, I'm gonna say, may not like that I say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Not only did he go up against the European from the educated college professor, he also went up against the highest of political authority in this country. And then, due to some conflict dealing with a message he delivered, it caused friction with him and the minister. And the way that he handled that was noble, but he was also able to express his frustration without being disrespectful. I mean, I don't think people really understand the dynamic of a poised man that can be so aggressive but not disrespect his teacher and someone who raised him and looked up to, but also express his frustration. And this was the college that I learned, that I can be overly expressive to some people, but it's effective to get my point across. I can also have a sort of disagreement with my teacher, but I don't have to be disrespectful, but I can still express my frustration. I mean, this is a serious dynamic. Where in today's world, if I express my frustration with one of my colleagues, they think I want to fight them. You know what I mean? Or they want to fight me. You see what I'm saying? If I express my frustration with Taj Tariq, his whole entourage, they want to call me COINTEL. You see what I'm saying? This is the weird dynamic. But what Dr. Khaled did, man, if people really watch how things played out with him and the minister, man, you can learn a valuable lesson on how to respect your teacher and still be able to express your frustration, but never cross the line of disrespect. And that's what Khaled taught me.
I think that's very, very important. Because
I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear? Brother Malik? We hear you, Brother Malik.
I'm here. I'm here. I had some electric issues, but I'm happy to be here. I'm feeling your vibe, and brother, brother, I like you as a host. I have to say that you are one interesting host.
Hold up, Ish. We at trouble.
Hold on, Malik. Can I can hear you, Malik.
All right.
We'll make sure. We'll find out if the crowd can hear us. Hold on one second.
All right. I'm trying to get all my electricity and stuff here. I'm gonna get my laptop as backup.
Okay.
Can you hear me,
the audience? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Let me
Okay.
Let me just get my laptop.
We jamming up. Here we go. We jamming up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Ish?
Yes, Tarka. Yes, I can hear you.
It's jamming up. I don't hear. Hold up.
All right.
I'm right here with you. I can hear you.
No, and I can hear you too, Malik.
Stand by, Ish. Hold it down for me, Ish. I'm going to restart.
All right. So as Brother Taharka does his reboot, what I want to reiterate to the listening audience what I was saying.
Let's restart.
What I was saying was that Brother Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz is one of the top reflections of the teachings of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And not only is he one of the gifts that has put forward the work for the liberation of the Black nation, but he gives us the opportunity to build upon a legacy that was already put in motion by the Honorable Marcus Garvey, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he's an extension in our midst of someone who's taken it to where it needs to go. And we're supposed to meet our brother halfway as far as if the call goes out for unity, then we do our part as Moors, as Africans, to make sure that we bridge that gap for the betterment of not only us, but for the next generation. That's the work that we're putting in right now.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, brother. Can you hear us okay?
All right, I'm still with you. Just hold 1 second. Let me set something up.
Listen.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Tarka?
They messing with me, Ish.
Tarka, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, we good. That's right. Check this out. Every time you mention my brother name, y'all try to mess with me. Nah, I'm glad. Let's go, brother. Let's go, brother.
Good?
Just a little bit delay. I don't know what happened that time, but you know how that works, man. We don't own Google. That's why this conversation is important, so we can come together and we can own our own Google, and we be at the transmissions, so won't no transmission shut down. You know what I mean? So
let me bring him on. Let me bring him on, man. Without further delay, let's bring on the brother who's been putting forth the work for the Black nation. And what we're going to do is invite him to the Moorish World platform because he's our brother. He's a soldier and a general. And we want to invite attorney Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz. Salute, family.
Salute. I wish I had some sound effects. Let me give me some sound effects. He needs sound effects. He needs sound effects. I'm trying to tell you, man.
You drop the bomb.
Now, Brother Malik, let me ask you, brother. All right. Hey, brother, for those that's been under a rock and just chilling for the last 20 years, can you give us a working description of just who you are? For those that, for some reason, they don't know who you are, whoever they may be.
Can he hear you, brother?
Can you hear me?
Brother Malik, are you there?
I think he froze up.
Yeah, somebody working overtime.
I guess that ain't gonna be the more you gonna remember. You know what I mean? Hey,
right.
They know that. Well, anyway, man, listen. Y'all know yesterday, right? We had a nice show yesterday, and tomorrow we gonna be back, right? Let my brother, yeah, he had a little problem. So tomorrow we gonna be back. And this show here is the precursor to the show tomorrow. Let me share a few things with you real quick, family. If I can, I want to share something with you. So tomorrow's show, family, let me give y'all a little clip of what we doing tomorrow. If y'all gonna be here tomorrow, y'all won't be disappointed. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about the unqualified leadership within our community. And yesterday we talked about our brother Umar Johnson, and not to really criticize him in such a way that we're piling on like in the football game. That's not what I was trying to do. The point that I was trying to make is that we need quality leadership, period, point blank. And okay, it happened on the watch of Umar while he's going through what he's going through. Okay, that's enough reason for me to do a show to represent the ideal that we need quality leadership. Tomorrow, we're going to be addressing the brother Tariq Nasheed. What role does he play in all of this as it relates to uplifting our people? Is he for the uplifting of our people, or is he for cashing in on the ignorance of our people? Everything becomes a dollar sign at some point in time to some people. So I've done the research, and the research that I've done, if you've seen the show yesterday, I think y'all may have learned some new things about Umar Johnson yesterday. Like I say, it's not to pile on like in a football game. It's merely to just show that we need quality leadership. And some leadership is just not qualified to lead us. I don't care what they say. But that doesn't make you my enemy. That doesn't make you not my brother. I just don't want you leading me or my children nowhere. Not after you represent yourself in a certain manner. And so when we look at Tariq Nasheed tomorrow, we're going to be examining is this Hidden Colors, which was excellent piece of work, I might add, excellent piece of work. But was the film Hidden Colors a way to get a new hustle going, or was he really interested in uplifting our people? The reason that we ask this is because we need an end game. We need an end game. Yes, brother. Malik Shabazz is here. He just had a technical difficulty, but he'll be back in a second. To my brother, Mr. DC. Yeah, Shabazz here, brother. Shabazz here. So we need an end game. And when I talk about an end game, the end game is, where are you trying to take us? So, for instance, if we're talking about Umar Johnson, and he called himself the Prince of Pan-African, or Prince of Pan-African something. If he called himself that, then we need to know where you're trying to take us. What is the end game? For example, the end game, which is perpetual, of the Moorish Science Temple of America, is to bring us into nationhood. Not one day we have a piece of paper, give it to a European, and we become a nation. We're not talking about that. The end game of the Moorish Science Temple of America is to bring us into nationhood with a step-by-step methodology to get us there. Step-by-step method to get us there. You know, and this step-by-step method will not be televised on YouTube, nor will it be televised on Facebook, nor will it be televised on IG or Twitter or any other social medias. This social media platform here is to excite and interest people about the Moorish Science Temple of America and the uniting of our people. Prophet Noble Drew Ali calls it the uniting of Asia. And in those words, we mean the uniting of all Asiatics. It doesn't mean what you call yourself, because I know who you are. But can we unite even if you choose to call yourself something that I am opposed to calling myself? Of course we can. And so that is the motive that I am bringing to the table. My motive is to unite with my people regardless. See, we don't want to have the conversation where people would begin to say, like they used to, oh, you Moors don't like me because I'm black. Well, guess what? I got people in my family still call themselves black. And I love them just like I love myself. Therefore, I love you like I love myself. See, true Moorish Americans ain't caught up into the fanatic behavior. We're not caught up into that. What we are caught up into is the progressive acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America and the progressive acts of its members and leaders. That's what a true Moorish American should be caught up in. Now, if a true Moorish American ain't caught up in that, then maybe he's not a true Moorish American. You know, because at the end of the day, and hopefully my brother can get things straight, because I got some questions that I'm going to bring forth. And I don't bring soft questions. You know what I mean? That's my brother. I love my brother, but I'm going to bring the real questions. You know, one of the things that we need to know is, if you don't know, Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz is an attorney. Matter of fact, all of these Moors that be talking about these consulate courts, if you don't know, he's actually putting together something so there can be a consulate court. So all of these little rogue Moorish groups, they might want to get with a real attorney by the name of Malik Zulu Shabazz, because he's actually in the process of trying to work that and bring that to fruition, if you didn't know. See, I'm moving a little fast because he's having a little technical difficulty. But see, I do my homework. I understand what people are doing around the world. And Moors need to get themselves into the loop. Moors need to it's time to step out the temple. Go to the temple on Friday, go to the temple on Sunday, go to the temple on Wednesday or Thursday, but whatever it is. But after that, step out the temple. It's time to step out the temple. It's time to meet some people. It's time to influence some people. It's time to show people that you've been visited by a prophet of God. That's what it's all about.
Also, before Brother Malik comes to join us, Brother Tahaka, I also posted on the backside a video that was just explaining from Dr. Khaled, when he was explaining about he was a Moor, and it just kind of laid a backdrop of kind of the perspective of what they were looking for as far as a relationship to be forged.
Throw that link back in there for me, because I had to go out and come back in. So yes, post it one more time.
No problem.
Text my brother Malik. The chat is filling up. They're waiting for the brother. I know he's probably having some issues because he's on Moorish World TV platform. They love when I yell, but now I bring a revolution. I bring a revolutionary on it, yo. They want to shut me down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Listen, this is what I want to do, man. I want to do this. If anybody, I know my brother Sinetta is live tonight. But if anybody get in contact with him, tell him this is the show he needs to watch, because for many days last year, he always made the statement that Moors don't want to unite with blacks and black power, black people, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we passed that now. But I think this will be interesting for anybody who wonder how can a Moorish American actually unite with a brother who, for the most part, screams black power, represents black power, and live his life in the paradigm of black power. And that's what we're trying to talk to tonight. You know, that's what we're trying to talk about tonight. So hopefully the brother can get back in here so we can get it going, because time is ticking and we ain't get one question in yet. You know what I mean? Not one. You know, we need at least one question in.
Yeah, the video's at 1 minute 25. If you get a chance to, it's posted out there.
Okay, let me see. So family, this is the video that we want to use as the backdrop, as my brother is say. See, it's a producer. He a producer. 120. He a producer of the Moorish World TV show. You know what I mean? Now hold on, because we're gonna have a TV show. This YouTube. We have a real TV show. You know what I mean? We got a real deal. Yeah, keep playing with me. Anyway, here we go. My big brother, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Right front and center, right at you. Let's get it.
As many of you have heard me say many times, while I was Supreme Captain or National Spokesman or whatever in the Nation of Islam, that if it were not for Africa, if it were not for the original black man and black woman, there would be no Islam, no Christianity, spokesman or whatever in the expressions. And that I now have come to, as many of you have heard me say many times, while I was Supreme Captain or National Spokesman or whatever in the Nation of Islam, that if it were not for Africa, if it were not for the original black man and black woman, there would be no Islam, no Christianity, no Judaism. None of the world's major religions, as Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin and Dr. John Henry Clark and others have taught us, would be in existence if there were no original black man and woman and no Africa. Africa, as it is called now. More and more, I am being guided to study more. And I hope that the ancestors will guide me to touch on this Africa thing, to touch on Asiatic. Oh, they say, oh, you gotta know what you're doing, boy. You know, there's a whole lot of us in here. I understand, Moor. I'm a Moor. I understand that nationality is the order of the game. I understand that. More and more, I am being guided to study more.
All right.
That I love you, that I care for you, that you are my sister, you are my brother, taking the prefix BR off and leaving other, that you are my other self. And I do not act morally and righteously toward you, I cannot do it. I make myself alive. More and more, I am being guided to study more. Muslim. You a Muslim, Khalid? Yes, I am. But I'm a Moor. Islam. I'm a Moor. And got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And I'm a Moor. And got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor. And wouldn't come in your house or come among you and say I'm a Moor if I didn't feel in my heart, in my mind, in my soul that I am. Hell, you goddamn it, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No more. So if I say it, I mean it. And if I mean it, generally, I say it.
Thank you for playing that clip, brother. Thank you so much. And I think that's a perfect opportunity for us to bring in attorney Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz.
Good night. Hold on. That was serious, man. Hold on, man. And got sense enough to know it. Malik Zulu Shabazz, brother. Come on in, brother. As I was stating before, my friend, brother, oh my God, I wanted to go straight in with Khalid, man. You messed me up with that one, Ish. But Malik, for those who may not know who you are and what you stand for and what you do, maybe you can lay it out briefly so we can get straight to the conversation, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself, family.
All right. First of all, my honor to be on with you. you are perhaps the most charismatic Moor that I have seen in a long, long time.
I'm gonna be the Moor you gonna remember now.
I mean, I like you. It's hard not to like you, man. You got a good spirit, and I like your persona. I had a few technical difficulties here, but I'm getting it straight. I'm happy to be on. My name is Malik Zulu Shabazz. I am, number one for here, I am a student of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. He was my mentor. I served as his student organizer. I served as his national spokesman. I served as his confidant through his toughest of times, and I was his primary organizer. I consider myself a continuum of his legacy, that the work that I do and I'm about to describe to you continues his legacy. Currently, well, for 13 years, I was the national chairman of the New Black Panther Party, continued after his passing. I continued as the chairman, according to his wishes, for 12 or 13 years. And currently, I serve as the national president of Black Lawyers for Justice. Overall, I'm a Pan-Africanist Black nationalist organizer. I'm writing the book on the Book of Khalid, and his books and his documentary I'm working on. And I'm working on a Black Men's Convention. And overall, I'm working to continue Dr. Khalid's work. And all of those who say that they are with him, I'm duty bound to be with them and happy to have these conversations. It's a time of unity.
Indeed, indeed. And brother, I feel like I'm a little bit special because listen, I had a meeting, what was this, Saturday in Annapolis, Maryland. And a friend of mine said, Moore, we need you to come to DC. This is what I was given. Brother, we need you to come to DC. I need to try to get you to speak. I need you to represent the Moors. We're going to see if we can make that. You see what I got in my hand, bro?
Yeah, I see it, and I'm happy. I'm happy to see that.
Isn't this a small world when you look at it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, you know, we got to give credit to Ishmael Bey, because he is the man, number one, that I know. And he is the primary Moor that I communicate with. And I think he understands me and where I come from as much as any Moor. I can't say every Moor, but as much as any Moor is Brother Ishmael, that knows where I come from, knows what I'm taught, and knows how to bridge them gaps and how to get that invite over to y'all and to create the kind of dialogue where we're not going against each other, but we're trying to see how we can be with each other. You know, so I have to say I have some Moorish training myself. When I took I had a teacher by the name of Ishmael Bey in Washington, D.C. And he was a member, he was a member of a group of young men called the Shahada Moors. Okay. And when I was coming out of Howard University, they were Moors that had took the Shahada, and that's as they call themselves. And so for a whole summer, I went through learning the protocols of what we call Orthodox Islam. And I also was in the demonstrations, the circles of the Moors. I was learning how you all do things, how you study things. And he's one of my teachers. So I gained a lot of respect for the Moors. And I've always had a lot of respect for Noble Drew Ali, because he's one of the first that did it in America. He is the first man that raised up Islam in America. He is that man. And because the Moors have a lot of respect for Mr. Garvey, I have a lot of respect for the Moors. And just in general, when it comes to nationality, and it comes to disciplining our people and raising our people up from the grave and standing them on the square, is why I respect the Moor. So I say, in conclusion, to open up, like Dr. Khalid Muhammad says, that I'm a Moor, and he's not ashamed to say it, I'm going to say it also. I'm a Moor also. If my teachers are Moor, I'm a Moor also. I have to say that.
Indeed, indeed. And brother Malik, we have been through a lot of ups and downs as it relates to trying to move on one accord due to, some people would say religion divides us, and others would say, well, no, let me say not others, I say division starts in the mind. Like if you meet me and off the break, you are divided because I do not appear to be similar customarily to what you are, and you see me different, then the division is not the religion or the ideology. It's something going on with the individual. So the first question is, what things you think that we can do to change the ideal of how unity works? Because I don't feel I have to dress like somebody, talk like somebody, pray like somebody, spend, eat, and all the things like somebody else to be unified with them. I don't agree with that. I agree with that. My unity starts right here. I see you, I see me. Period, point blank. Any way you think that we can begin the conversation in order to get past those things that divide us?
Well, I appreciate the question. Like you said, when I see you, I see me. And so when I see you first, I don't necessarily see the feds. I see the brother. And I see beneath the label, Moor, Black Panther, I see a brother. I see the one that if the police department in your city stop you, if he's going to abuse you, he's going to abuse me the same. He's not going to question you on whether or not you are Moor and I'm a Black Panther, or whether one is a Muslim or a Christian. We are brothers, as I say, Black men. So number one is that I feel that the time is so critical that I am on a diplomatic mission to reach out to all of my brothers who are trying to help, as you all say, trying to help uplift fallen humanity and to help our brothers and sisters. And so I have a duty now to relate to a group of people that's very prominent. I mean, the Moors, there's Moors everywhere. There's Moorish knowledge everywhere. There's Moorish teaching everywhere. And we have to be honest, we are undergoing somewhat of a Moorish renaissance.
You better believe
so it's a renaissance.
Yes, sir.
And so, because I know you all are influential, I know you're valuable, and I study. Like some of the things that Ishmael Bey, he posts on his page, I study, you know? So that's one thing, is that the heart, it's a heart beyond the label, is why I'm here. Number two is I have some things that, that brother Ishmael has helped me work through in terms of dialoguing with the Moors. Like I used to fall out with a lot of Moors over the term Black. I mean, we couldn't get beyond Black.
We're gonna get to that too, brother Malik.
I want to get all into it. I just want to say, I just want to touch that to get beyond that.
Carry on, brother, because that's one of the main conversations that need to be had. That's one of the main ones. Go ahead, brother.
I appreciate all of the Moors that are on the line that are even willing to listen to me. A man that goes by the term Black, that even if they were willing to listen to me on this conversation and have an open ear, that's progress. And brother Ishmael said he knows all the sides. He knows Elijah Muhammad teaching. He knows the Moorish teaching. He knows the Black Panther teaching. So I think if there's a way in this conversation that we can get beyond that which has previously divided us, that we can do a serious work. You know, number one, I come in respect. Like when I see the Moors, my Moorish science brothers and sisters, when they have their fezzes on and their suits and ties on, I mean, I have to love it because I come from, like, my family tradition goes back in the Nation of Islam. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I know where the Nation of Islam got a lot of it from. They got it because there were those that were there before them that were wearing the suits and the ties and that give us the foundation of the Islam we know. So I think to answer your question, the unity comes through respect. It comes through understanding. It comes through being willing to listen to other perspectives. Every perspective is not my perspective. And it comes from seeing the sincerity in you, sincerity in Ishmael. And makes me want to fight to bring us to the table. It makes me want to fight to bring us to the table so that really we can end the infighting. Because one thing that most of the Moors are teaching these days is they are teaching some form of sovereignty, some form of independence. And I can respect that. Even if we don't agree on every detail, you all are fighting for sovereignty, which I call self-determination. You're fighting for independence. You're fighting to be under colonial control. I can respect that. You're fighting so that our people just don't see themselves as being enslaved.
And now
you're fighting to let our people know that you were here before Columbus, that we have always been here, and that we are not just the people that have been enslaved.
Can I share a little wisdom also on this?
Here I am. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to share a little wisdom of. I had the opportunity to have a little sit down with Brother Taharka when I went to Baltimore. I got a chance to dine with my brother Taharka and Brother Sharif Bey. And one of the elders, important elders of the Nation of Islam back in the days was Sheikh Sharif. And I'm sure, Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, you know about Sheikh Sharif. What I was sharing with Brother Taharka, I brought up Sheikh Sharif. And I said, because he was so influential on me as a young soldier coming up. What Minister Farrakhan did was he put me on 2 details at the Million Man March. I had Will Smith and I had Sheikh Sharif. He told me to guard Sheikh Sharif. And I was on the podium next to Sheikh Sharif the whole day. But what Sheikh Sharif would do is when he would come to Syracuse, which is my hometown, we would have sit downs and have dinner with him. And he would explain to us that history of when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was on the run and when he had to go to Washington, D.C. And it was the Moors that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's homes that he used to go to, many of them were Moors, and the homes would be bustling out with people all the way outside and down the stairs and outside of people getting the message of the messenger teaching in the homes in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheikh Sharif was one of those valuable elders. And again, I was smart enough to always be silent, to know my place and to learn. And the jewels that I would ask, and they would trust me with information, knowing that I was humble enough to be wise enough to listen and to apply what was being taught to me. So if you can give some insight maybe to Sheikh Sharif, of what you know about him, I think that would be very influential of how the Moorish relationship and the messenger's relationship was so influential, perhaps on you, brother.
Brother, that is very heavy because you have touched right into one of my early mentors, Sheikh Akbar Hassan Sharif, if I got it right, was one of my first mentors at Howard University. He was very influential at that time. I studied under him directly. And if soon, I guess when I first brought Minister Farrakhan to Howard University, I'm introducing Minister Farrakhan and Sheikh Sharif is right there. So many times I've sat at his feet and learned from him. And he also would tell us, he was key in telling us about how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was on the run or in transition, and he was coming to Washington, D.C. a lot. And he would show us the houses where he would come. Now, you've added to that by telling me whose houses he was staying at, and added the connection between the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Moors. I mean, but we see it there. We have it in that history. We see it in the photographs. We see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wearing the fez that the Moors wear in some of our pictures. I think the two sides have been more divided than necessary. It could be to the fact that Well, it could be many factors, but you know, the Nation of Islam had achieved a certain prevalence. Its spokesman. And some of the Moors, I can understand it, might say, well, hey, well, what about us? We helped started all this. Now all we got to hear about is Malcolm and Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad. But what about Prophet Noble Drew Ali? What about our contributions? So I can understand that. So now that this renaissance is coming back, I mean, I say the Moors, they don't die. I mean, they are constantly coming back here. So I want to contribute. At this point in time, I would like to contribute to the dialogue and the understanding amongst the different nations so that we can appreciate each other and also get away from this environment right now of attacking and destroying each other. You know, I've seen the Moors involved in a lot of debates in New York. It was the Moors against the Israelites and the Israelites against the Black Power people and attacking so forth. I mean, it's provided good entertainment. It's provided a certain environment, but I'm ready to move to a more mature level. Like, I'm ready to sit down with you all's representatives and see how we can forge a pact, forge an alliance for real self-determination, for real sovereignty, where you all can get some of the support that you deserve and we can get some of the support we deserve, you know, as men. I think this can be an historic year. That's why I'm pushing and pulling for you and you all to be at the National Black Men's Convention. I want you right there, and I want you to be treated with respect and to have everybody know what you're teaching, why you're teaching, and that the Moors are not as divided as we think.
Well, let me ask you a question on when you speak of sovereignty, right? You know, there is a sort of division within the Moorish paradigm as to the approach to the solution to our problems. We have a section of Moors, if you will, that believe that they can divide themselves and make themselves an island from, I guess, the laws and the statutes and the codes, if you will, of the United States government, which is strange to me, because when you walk out your door, you still confronted with, whether it be traffic laws, whatever the case may be, you're confronted with something, which is strange to me. So in the Moorish Science Temple of America, I'm a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In the Moorish Science Temple of America, I think it's safe to say that most Moors in the Moorish Science Temple of America believe in the concept of taking the construct, taking control of the construct and bending it to your will, if you will. As opposed to throwing the construct away, take it back. And in the temple of the Moorish Science, in the Moorish Science America, the temple, we got a method to take this system back. And in the words of Sharif Ishmael Bey, we need to not fight the power, but to become the power. And I use that as a working measure on how the Moors in the temple were instructed to move by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Now, we have another group of Moors, that the other section of Moors, that say, well, no, this is not ours. We're colonized. We can drive on the roads without license, and we can do all of these things that's adverse to law and things that make society civil, if you will, you know. Now, that type of stuff. I know when you speak of sovereignty, and what form do you speak of sovereignty?
That's a very good question. I speak in the most general form of sovereignty in terms of our quest for self-determination and control over land here in America or elsewhere that will allow us to exercise our will as a people. And it's first and foremost based on land. Now, from what I've understood of many of the Moors, or some of the Moors, I don't want to characterize everybody, that it's many of their theories are heavily based on treaties that was established between Spain and America at certain points, and other treaties that was established in the colonial period in the early Americas. What I'm for right now, I have my concept of self-determination along the lines of Minister Malcolm X, and it seeks to, it's based on land, and it's based on our desires to be independent in every way we can. What I'm for this year, you know, American Institute of Human Rights under Dr. Mustafa Al-Ansari. And what I'm for is a convergence of all of those who believe in self-determination, who believe in sovereignty, to see if we can get us a uniform working definition of it. Yeah. Because I think that there's progress we can make. I don't knock the man that's out there trying to get his own driver's license. Even though many of them, you know, I try to tell them the white man's law is the white man's law. Now you're gonna go out there with this license and so forth, but you might get busted, and many of them have gotten busted. However, my heart is still with the man trying to drive with his own license and establish his own independence. I would like to sit down with the Moorish scientists in the Moorish science movement, to sit down with the others who are working in this human rights field for self-determination. They're working with the same treaties of the Native Americans and how they relate to us, because when you're talking about the so-called Native American or the indigenous people, you're talking about our people. And so I'm for bringing them together. Right. I'm for us coming together inside of this convention in April to really get into some serious negotiations on this question of self-determination and sovereignty, right, so that we can have unity around the question of sovereignty and self-determination, and clearly define for the people where it is and where it's going. If you talk to Mustafa Al-Ansari, he insists that we can, according to what he knows and the laws that he knows, he insists that inside of America, self-determination can be carved out right now, and that control over these certain amount of money and funds due to our rights and laws of self-determination, that billions can and should be turned over to us right now to run our affairs. I would say on the sovereignty and self-determination question, I'm for bringing all of the persons that believe in sovereignty, believe in self-determination, the key players, and we come to the table and understand each other, and then come to the public and say, this is what we mean collectively by sovereignty and self-determination, and we represent those parts of the movement that believe in it, and I am for pushing it. I mean, obviously, all of us want to be free from colonial control and from control of the white man. And every way we can do it, I'm for it, all the way to a separate state and territory of our own.
Now with that being said, with you practicing law within the construct of this government, would that be a conflict of interest? Because I say that because when we talk about sovereignty, in a general sense, if you will, you're talking about complete separation. Nothing to do with me. I have nothing to do with you. I'm moving on, separating myself. As a matter of fact, that used to be in the back of the final call. That was one of the aims back in the day, you know, to separate ourselves, you know. So in that sense, do you feel as though that you have to go through the legal system in order to address us becoming sovereign, if that's what you see us needing to become?
Maybe. Because again, this is white law. I'm an attorney, but I'm in a system that is controlled by the European. And he is never inside of this law or his precedents or the cases that are decided going to willingly allow sovereignty. I mean, it's his law. And sometimes even I get into arguments with the Moors or so forth. I say the Moors, y'all have to get, some of y'all men have to become attorneys also.
That's right. I agree.
All of the legal theories that y'all want me to put on paper, y'all put them on paper. Because, you know, because I mean, and because this is a hell of a thing here, trying to trying to establish our sovereignty through the colonial court system. But so I say that the legal way is a way. It's a way. It's a way to fight, but it is not the means. Because ultimately, this system is designed to oppress us. So I think that we can't leave out the political component now. So if we're talking about legal and their legal obstacles, just say through what the white man's or white law, Supreme Court federal courts have set up. Politically, sovereignty and self-determination to me is a political question. It is a group of people of 40, 50 million that have come together that have decided that that we want a land or territory of our own, or that we want self-determination, and that so many of us are together. So many of us are putting forth this position that the political will of this country has to be bent to give us what we want. So I believe that we can get what we want through not just legal means, but I believe it's political means. And when I'm talking about a convention or bringing people together, it's not for short-term goals. It means that if we as a group of self-determination believers can actually put together a package of sovereignty or self-determination to the masses of our people, then I believe that we'll get some action from the United States government. I believe that a deal can be cut, but it has to be according to the will of our people, the will of the masses. It's a political move more than a legal move, is what I'm saying.
Okay. You know, in one of my concepts of and I believe I derived this concept, I mean, Moors can correct me if I'm wrong. One of my concepts that I've come to see of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali back in the day, I watched this movement, and for many people, they don't have a lot of information on the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, so they really don't know how he actually moved in the 20s. Well, fortunately, I have a lot of information on the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and I've noticed that in the 20s, and I said this on my show quite a few times, in the 20s, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali had amassed a following of about 30,000, give or take. In Chicago, there were 3,000 Moors rallied around 4 candidates. And I call the work of Prophet Noble Drew Ali a prophecy in the working, which means he demonstrated, and now we must fulfill it by doing it ourselves in this day and time. And so 4 candidates that he instructed 3,000 Moorish Americans, or supporters, if you will, instructed them to vote for. And one was 2 aldermen, one was a judge, and there was also a congressman, and I think it was one more. Anyway, those 3,000 Moors put all of them in office, and this is one of the big political shifts after the Reconstruction, and this was done by the Moors. So now my concept become that if we understand the voting process, I'm not talking about voting for willy-nilly that just jump up. We're talking about that most people in the inner cities do not vote. Most of our people do not vote. Now, if we get 2,000 people, and 1 out of that 2,000, we qualify of us. If we got 2,000 people to move almost in any inner city on the council level, in districts, we take over cities overnight. You know, and so as I tell a lot of Moors, why are we handing paperwork to the European? Let's put ourselves in the office so we can receive the paperwork and change the law. How about that? Because a lot of these things are done by voting. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, take your place in the affairs of men. Now, I know we got this idea that voting don't work. Yeah, uneducated when everybody just go willy-nilly and vote for anybody that's smiling their face. But I'm talking about taking your brother and your sister from amongst you, training them up. As Dr. Khalid Muhammad said, they set him aside when he was young. And some of the other young boys, they set him aside and they put him into special courses or classes. Remember that story? I know you remember it, brother. So we take one aside amongst us. and we all get behind these ones in these inner cities and put them in political position so they can receive the paperwork as opposed to hand it into the European. What do you think about that?
Some of that's possible. Some of that's possible. And some of it been tried, but some of it needs to be tried on a stronger level. We have never seen and had the chance to have the Moors in office to see how they would act in office. We have elected.
I'm not saying this is just particularly for Moors. I'm talking about anybody amongst us with our best interests at heart. It doesn't matter, Moor, Black Power, it doesn't matter. With our best interests, with our collective goal in mind and working for us.
Well, number one, I can agree, and I agree that we need a new political construct. That's part of the reason why we're working the way we're working. We need a new politics. And even if we're trying to get candidates in on the local level, which I believe could produce some gains, we have to get moving fast if that's what we're going to do. You know, there are some, like I would say there's some positives and some negatives. We can't get too, we have to still understand that in the civil rights movement, like for example, we've come to elect a lot of blacks or a lot of our brothers and sisters right now that are supposed to be for us. It just so happens that by the time they get through this political system, by the time they get through politicking and politricking to pass a bill or whatever they're doing, usually the result does not come out strongly for us, with few examples. However, I still think, and that's one of the things that we need to talk about, we need to dialogue about that. We need a new political party and a new structure that will begin producing some of the results you talk about.
I think more loyalty though, because the loyalty will go a long way. Because regardless of what party you in, if you loyal to your people, whether it's 12 districts in Baltimore, 8 of those districts in Baltimore is predominantly our people. 8 of them. You know, if we could control 8 city council seats, we control the whole city.
That is true.
But the loyalty has to come from out of our loins, per se. I mean, the dedication has to be for among. It can't be just some willy-nilly Asiatic that just say, "Look, run, chase. Look, I'll do it. I'll do it." No, no, no. This person has to be groomed from amongst us.
Okay, well, I can agree with the grooming, and then I would say that if you become in any one of them 8 districts, you have to get to a political point where you can, if you can't groom them, you can control them and can control who goes in office. Now, if you're very politically active and you do all them things that that politicians fear and respect, which I say is far beyond registering to vote. I mean, I've taken certain districts and wards in my area and can advise on how you can completely take over those areas. I mean, and control the politicians. But I would want to know whether this conscious movement is ready to get that political. I mean, there's ways to achieve what you're talking about, like in the city of Baltimore, but you have to get very political. Then you talk about grooming somebody some years down the line, or you're talking about basically having the politicians that exist do their will. There are ways to do that. And I'm with you on that.
Not to cut you on that. The reason that I say that is what is more practical for our liberation and what is going to have some staying power. You know, we might can do both things simultaneously. But whatever we do, as you said, we have to come to the table, we have to come to an agreement, and then we have to have our marching orders in order to have some staying power.
That's the importance of having the conference. That's the importance of realizing that we have genius and brilliance within our own people. And all of us are not going to be able to do just one thing. And we can cover a lot more ground by attending the conference and finding out what are the strengths, oh, we got the legal part covered, or we have attorneys over here. I believe Dr. Shabazz said that he's going to have a section that's helping people on some of the legal things on one side. Another person may focus on health. Another person may be a politician. So Tip O'Neill said all politics are local. I believe that. Politics are local in its strength, but it's not going to be the all in all of what we need as a people. For us to get into liberation, we're in code red right now, and that's fine. We're at war. We just have to be aware that we're at war and realize that it's not all about just the NFL or dancing at the club. We're at code red. We have to get politically energized, and all other aspects. We need to embrace this and get into, get involved. That's the importance of the conference.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask y'all this. Can I ask both of you gentlemen this? What do you think about that? Did you read the Black Identity Extremist report?
Absolutely.
You read that?
Yes. Yes, and we shared it on the show. Yes, sir.
What do you all think about the fact that most of the people in there were classified as Moors? Now that shocked me.
Well, like I said,
most of the people that they were targeting, over half of them, over half of it was about people that were Moors or claiming to be Moors. What did y'all think about that?
I can go first. Most of those people that they're talking about do not even represent the particular teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Most of those teachings that these guys insist to represent, this adverse possession of squatting in houses, this is where this targeting come from. They squat in houses, they ride with these homemade IDs, these paper tags. This stuff is taught, but the Prophet Noble Drew Ali never taught that stuff. That stuff is a white, if you will, and I'm using the term white because that's what they call it, quote unquote, a white sovereign ideology that was adopted by those Moors looking for a free lunch. That's what I call it. Because in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and you can never find any now, if people want to define the teachers of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, then you just go look at the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. People cannot find anything remotely close to this stuff that these brothers and sisters demonstrate. But now I'll say this. I do believe that the Moorish, because many other people do it too, I do believe that the Moorish American, or the quote unquote Moorish national, has itself in the crosshairs because it's something to this Moorish thing, if you will. It's something to it. Now, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali makes a statement that in the 2000s, the Moors will come into their own. And just like you said, there's basically a resurgence now of Moors, So if there is a hint of liberation within the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, beyond what people think, but I'm talking about true liberation within the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, I can expect it to be in the crosshairs to some degree.
And I would say that in 1992, the white patriot groups co-opted their agenda into the Moorish paradigm. That's when that happened, Brother Malik, in 1992. Prior to 1992, this was not an aspect of what the Moors were dealing with. So after 92, when the patriot group started to weave their doctrine into the Moors, then that's when it started to take a left. Because simultaneously, that's when technology started to come a little bit later than that. And then that message started to get spread so quickly via the new technology that was coming, people getting the internet into their homes. So from 92 and after is when it started to go left, and where we're dealing with today. That's who that report was dealing with, the patriot groups. So it was smart when you said that you wanted to deal with Moors in the Moorish Science Temple, because even within the Moors, there's a civil war taking place right now. The Moors that you're speaking to right now, myself, Brother Taharka, the Moors that I roll with in particular, we are of the Moors trying to separate and say we're not that group that the FBI is trying to focus on, who are squatting in the houses, labeled as paper terrorists, etc. We are grassroots, putting in the work from the old school and doing it in a grassroots way. But we're not the group that's flooding the paperwork and getting caught up in what you're seeing after 92.
And let me add to this, Ish. I'm the type of person where as though, man, if they on me, they on me. It is what it is. But don't be on me after I own my own business, after I make my own way, and this crazy guy breaking in a mansion, laying up in a mansion with his family and talking about his heads. Don't put that on me. I mean, don't do that to me.
That's right.
I got 4 vehicles, struggling to get out of poverty, get exactly what I want, not grabbing something just because I can, but to get exactly what I want. Now this guy wearing a fez, driving a beat up old bucket with no tags on it, and now I got to eat that because him? Nah, brother, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing
that. Let me ask a question. I gotta ask this question. So now I'm kind of seeing the differences. Now I'm kind of getting more knowledge about which.
That's right. Bro, you gonna have my number. You call me anytime.
Which more is doing what? Okay, now I'm getting the idea of which more is doing what. And I still say that the fact that you made most of the FBI extremist report, whoever made it, even though some of them are an embarrassment to you, I got to give you some credit. Because if you make the FBI extremist report, and I'm gonna give you a hand, man, because that means you got to be doing something. Now, with all of these men running around here, what I'm trying to figure out is a time coming shortly where there is there a reformer amongst the Moors of the Moorish Science Temple? Is there? Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question in a minute. Okay, so who is the uniter? Who is the one, or who are the ones, plural, that can bring a unity amongst the Moors, a cohesion amongst them, so that, like, if we're negotiating, we say we're gonna negotiate with the Moors, so we have a clear idea who we're dealing with. Is it going? Let me ask you this: is it going to be less Moors or more Moors in the future in terms of leadership?
Nah, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Majority of Moors are not squatting in houses. They are not riding around with paper tags. Majority of Moors are not loud. Those are the most loudest Moors. Put it that way. Now, for me, there is not one, if you call body of Moors, that I haven't been around, that I haven't been respected by, and that I do, that I have respect for. There's not one. I'm talking about from Chicago to Baltimore to down south. It doesn't matter. We have our unity within the Moorish paradigm. But now, these are not the loud Moors that are sleeping in houses, and these loud Moors that's doing all this crazy stuff are the ones that get the most attention.
Mm-hmm.
But there is not one Supreme Grand Sheikh that I haven't communicated with, shook their hand, had private talks with. There's not one leader that I haven't had some form of communication with. And so we are right. We are right. It's just these loud Moors that are getting the attention right now. And we're going to break that up because we work too hard to try to bring forth some liberation without this madness. That stuff is madness. And I know you listened to some of that stuff as an educated attorney and said, whoa, for real?
And I understand where you're coming from, Brother Malik. What you're asking for is specifically, you're asking, who's the point people? Who are the people that we can communicate with to say, okay, this is the direction that we need to go? I'll let you know.
Will the Moors follow a set of leaders or in absence of a single leader?
Exactly.
Will they mostly follow a set of leaders?
And I'm letting you know, without a doubt, we have a group of Moors that are well respected by the masses of Moors. Absolutely. Yes, we do.
And that's what's up. That can make sense out of this as we move forward. I'm inclined, based on this conversation, I'm going to talk with Dr. Ansari and others, and I want to set up a special. Well, I got to see how y'all want to participate in the convention. I mean, I want to know. I mean, are y'all really trying to get into this?
Let me say this, brother. I have communicated with Dr. Ansari on a couple occasions. He had to come on the show a couple of occasions. I think he got sick one time. So so yeah, bro. I'm going to say this. Let me make an announcement to the Moorish world. Here we go. Moorish World TV. I said it last night, and I'm gonna say it again tonight. If don't nobody want to step in the forefront, then I have no choice but to do it myself. So when I say that I'm representing the Moors, I'm saying in such a way not to push nobody out the way. I'm saying come and join me, and let's represent this thing on the front line. And if you don't step up, then I'm going to represent it. And that's just what it is. But I've talked to Dr. Ansari.
And I'm letting you know that I got his back 100%. So you should already know how that's going to go.
All right. Then what I'm going to do is continue to dialogue with Brother Ishmael to see exactly how y'all will be in the convention so that it's constructive, you know, exactly what way that we're going to have you in, what kind of format, what kind of session we're going to have, whether it's around self-determination or some other format, so that when you come, Brother Taharka, first of all, I want to get all your information. If you're going to come, put you on the flyers and everything. And then I want to make sure that you all are there in the way that'll be best, most helpful. You know, whether it's around self-determination or whether it's around just letting people know what are the aims and objectives of the Moorish Science Temple. You know, I'm committed to you all being a part of the convention and being part of it in a very constructive way.
I think what we'll do is, if we can return to this conversation, we bring our brothers from Ali's Men on, and then we build a step further, and then we get a working model of how to move at the convention. So I think we could do that. Ali's Men is a highly educated, highly esteemed, regarded group of Moorish brothers that I think they would be honored. Now don't make me bite my tongue, Ali's Men. I think they would be honored to join this endeavor in Washington, D.C. I think they would be honored. And those brothers definitely, collectively, will bring some real concrete solutions to the table in conjunction with my concepts, because they all line up with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Okay, and so Brother Taharka, I want to salute Brother Taharka also for his work that he does in the Baltimore community, Brother Malik. He does a lot of great work. I'm talking about grassroots, from not just from the feeding, but I mean assisting with the manufacturing of homes, the work that he does with the 300 gangsters and PFK Boom, and brothers that are really in the hood. I want to salute the brother for the work that he does.
I want to come see you is what I want to do. If you give me a few weeks, I want to come over there and break bread with you.
Man, that sounds good, brother. I'm looking forward to it.
Over there and see you and be with you. There's some other things I want to talk to you about. I got an online university that's opening up soon, and I would love to have the Moorish perspective taught. The Moorish perspective taught, because I think that through all the infighting, we missed a lot of what we could gain about our own Moorish heritage. You know, I came from college. We was always taught a lot of positive things about the Moors. When I was coming up in school, that's what we used to brag on. Moorish Empire was from this year to this year. We talked about Mansa Musa and Muhammad Touré and the West African empires. And I would like to come over there and talk with you and see if even beyond the convention, that some other things I'm working on we could participate in. Because again, what Dr. Muhammad said is true. I'm a Moor, meaning Moorish history is my history. You know, and my history is your history. You know, now y'all have a certain view on the history that is very strong now. According to y'all, everything is Moor. Back to God.
That's all right. It's not my brother talk. I love this talk. I love it. I love it.
Not these Moors. We don't believe that.
Every hieroglyphic mean more. Everything is more.
Hey, that's why we got to sit down and talk. We got to sit down and talk, brother, because I'm telling you, it's a lot of pseudo-Moors. Listen, this is one of the challenges that I have, to separate the pseudo-Moor to the concrete information Moor. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Shout out to my Moorish brothers who subscribe to this ideal. But the Moors say that Prophet Noble Drew Ali went to the White House and grabbed the Moorish flag out of a vault and brought it back. They don't have no record of it. They don't have Prophet Noble Drew Ali saying it. They don't have no Moor saying it. They cannot attribute it to nobody. But they say that he went to the White House, opened up like a cupboard, grabbed it. Stop. Just stop it. You know. So and I've learned this from Ali's men, the brothers Ali's men. If you cannot prove it, you can't find something to support it, leave it alone until you can.
And I respect that. And one thing I respect about Brother Ishmael and yourself and a lot of Moors is that they study. Now, they might be arguing, but they're arguing based on something they study. They are not just quoting what somebody said. They got the book out, or the Encyclopedia Britannica out, or the Oxford English Dictionary. And it is not. Yeah, see, I can respect people that study and cite evidence and prove their points as people that I can match wits with and who I respect. And so, man, I'm coming to see you. I want to see you. I got to come see some of your men, 300 gangsters and others.
Brother, that brother's putting in work, brother. Man, shout out to my brother, Big Wolf. He was in the chat last night. Man, those brothers, man, I'm going to tell you, bro. I don't know if you heard about them brothers, right? But, you know, they be making a lot of waves. But I tell you, man, these brothers, man, they up in the hood giving away food. I told the brother, this is what the brothers told me. I said, man, I'm trying to build this community, man. I said, man, I got this GoFundMe up. I'm trying to get Moors to live in a community because I feel as though if we live together, then we automatically going to spend together. That's as I see. And so I'm in the process of building the Moorish village here in Baltimore, one house at a time, move one more at a time, one conscious brother, one conscious sister, progressive people at a time. I said, man, I'm putting up this GoFundMe. Our people acting funny with the money. I said, man, but we going to get it done. They looked at me, they said, yo, Bey, man, the brothers got the money in the hood, man. Let's go pat some pockets. It was so serious. It was so serious. But these brothers, they take uplifting to another level. You know, they take it to a whole nother level. And they not going to play with, they don't take no for an answer when it comes to doing uplifting acts. Everything that come with that other life, oh, you going to uplift or you going to get lifted. That's just what it is. So salute to my brothers, man. They always on the ground, man. Yeah, man, they gave over 300 turkeys away. And people might don't believe in Thanksgiving, but people hungry, man. So they gave 300 turkeys away in the hood. You know what I mean? They go down in the hood.
I have a question for Attorney Shabazz also. Brother, what is your specialty, or how can we assist you? I've seen you do cases in South Carolina 1 month, and then you go to St. Louis and deal with that, and then you go out to LA to deal with Polite and his police situation, and then you back on the East Coast again. How can we assist you so that you are successful? I know that you employ 10, 20, 30 people, and you have, you know, properties and things. How can we support you to make sure that you're even better and self-sufficient? And what is your specialty in law when you're actually representing these different people? How can we give you business to make sure that you're successful, brother?
Well, I appreciate the support. Number one, I appreciate the support, and I'm going to make the same offer to you. In terms of the litigation I do, a federal litigation in different states, there's not much that you can do to maybe at this point help me inside of the courtroom, but there's always actions outside of the courtroom that help what's going on inside the courtroom. You know, then always in a case that I'm involved in or a city that I'm in, something that people need to stand up, they need to speak out about it, they need to be active about it. And that's why I'll be coming to you, because some of it has an effect of what's going on with the city, or the people that have abused our people, and what's going on in the streets or the outside. And so it's political actions I need help with. I need y'all to give me a call. When something happens with that police case, that death case, give me a call first so we can get a better rapport with each other. We can get more comfortable with each other, because I like more of y'all to trust me and us and what we're doing in terms of litigation and pursuing these cases and trying to get justice. So that's what I say. Just let me keep that dialogue with you. So if I say that I need some help, I can get some help. And then when y'all need help, if I can help, I want you to call my phone. Email me at attorney.shabazz@yahoo.com. You know, I'm a real attorney. I ain't playing with that thing. I got a real office and all of that. And so I want to do business together. I want y'all support politically. And then I want to be able to take the political things that I'm doing, the political forces that I'm involved with, and I want to support y'all. Like when I come to talk with Brother Taharka, he's in Baltimore. He's talking about taking political power in Baltimore. Well, that's what I'm going to be on my agenda. When I come with him, I want to see how I can help. There's some people and forces I know there. There's some ideas I have there. And there's some things that I could suggest to you that you could do inside of them different districts and them different wards that would make you a powerful political player in Baltimore. You know, Baltimore it's a good city. It just lacks the self-esteem. You know what I mean? Baltimore is a great city. They suffer from what? Sometimes an identity crisis, you know, of trying to really figure out who they are and how to assert themselves. Once they figure that out, a powerful city.
Well, Baltimore, man, have suffered from the heroin, the opiates, man. They suffered bad from that through the 80s and the 90s. I mean, you know, everybody else had their crack epidemic. It was heroin here in Baltimore. Heroin, and you dealing with the residuals of that. So it's still trying to make a comeback. Where I'm looking at the place to start this Moorish village, you're talking about 5 to 10 blocks of nothing. I mean, nothing. Mm-hmm. Nobody lives there, nothing. These houses are not condemned. They're not even in the shape to be condemned. They could be rehabbed overnight. Some of these houses you can get for $5,000. Literally $5,000. And I got a whole team of people that's offering work to put it on these houses so Moors can move in the same community.
That's correct. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
In Baltimore, they don't have a sense of community, unfortunately, and they don't even see the opportunity. So what happened is, let me say this, what's going on now, they started this dollar program in Baltimore. You may have heard about it, to buy a house for $1. But what that is, a regentrification thing where you have to get a loan for at least $40,000 to rehab a house that's not even worth $40,000, if you will. And the European will go and get this loan, because if we could get the loan, heck, we wouldn't be in the hood in the first place, you know? So the European will go get this loan, they will fix this house up, and then once it's fixed up to standards and up to code, they sell it to them for $1. But it's not $1. They just got a loan for $30,000, $40,000. So now they're regentrificating, slowly moving the Europeans in and taking us out. And our resources, because they definitely asked, we done spent all of our money building up, even if it was in ignorance. All these little stores, that was our tax dollars built all that up. So now they move us out. So I'm trying to make sure, I'm trying to right now secure an area. I'm gonna actually rent my house out and move there soon as I can purchase one.
I want to talk about some real estate. I want to talk some real estate with you when I come talk to you. Some real estate.
Indeed, but to your point, the identity the identity crisis, the low self-esteem, and the concept of community is missing in Baltimore. You know, I mean, you know, in a house, I do property management. In a house with a family in it, man, anytime you go there, man, it's conflict. The concept of community is gone. So I think that's what we're suffering from, and I'm working hard. This year, one of my goals is to unite people around the concept of community, community economics, putting your money together, investing together, teaching people about some of this. I got somebody on deck to teach people about this little digital currency. Yeah, we making some moves here. You know, people see me hooping and hollering, They don't know. That's just to draw you in so I can get your attention and teach you some of this information that will save your life. You know?
I see. All right. Well, look, it's been an honor, brother, sharing this time with you. And you have my word. Within 30 days, first of all, I'm gonna get all your information from Baba Ishmael so that you can be on the next flyer. We got another flyer coming out, and I want your feds, you and your feds right on it. I want Brother Ishmael on it too. I want both of you to be there.
I'm looking forward to it. And brother, I'll be remiss if I don't ask you two questions, because months ago, last year, I hate to bring it up, but I got to do it for the people. For the people. It's a YouTube show. I got to do it for the people. One brother asked me, have you, and this was Mr. DC, he must know you or something. It's Mr. DC, I hope he's still in the building. He asked, have you reached out to Umar Johnson? That's what Mr. DC asked. If he's still in there, I asked him, brother.
I last successfully reached out to Umar Johnson at the Million Youth March anniversary. That was in 2013 in New York City. He did come, and I appreciated him coming. Said he came, a lot of people came. Since then, I've reached out to him several times to invite him to be a part of different conventions or our missions to Africa or so forth, and I haven't been successful with it. I've tried. I don't know how much more I'll try, to be very honest. Right. But I have tried to establish a decent relationship amongst a man who does have a following and people that support him. I study people in the movement and study all of the movement and who has support and who has momentum. So I've tried to establish a constructive relationship with him, but I really haven't gotten any feedback at all. So, you know, it is what it is. I hope so in the future, but I mean, that's just how it goes, you know.
Exactly. And I've seen over the history, I just want to bear witness also that Malik Zulu Shabazz has been one of the unifiers in putting out a lot of different conflicts. And even when he has had differences with other people, he's also been receptive. Like I've opened up the Amara Squad platform before when he's had differences with maybe someone over there and them being able to iron out the differences. So on both sides, I've seen him be the unifier, as be another brother to reach out if there's ever any kind of a difference with another brother or sister, him being willing to have that dialogue. So the opportunity goes out to Dr. Umar, that we love him. And if he is going through anything, that we offer any type of a platform from an elder like Malik Zulu Shabazz or from a brother like myself to make sure that we can try to conflict resolution. We need more of that. We need people who can really get together and dialogue as men and not to turn on the camera based on emotion, but just as men have open and frank dialogue.
Well, and we got to do that because it's such a critical year that we can't make a joke out of this struggle. It's getting so bad. It's getting so bad out here with the fighting, the cussing, and the fussing.
That's Malik.
That is really, to be honest, it's really a circus to me. I got to be honest. It's turning into a circus, and I come from another era where we had better rules than that. There were no. Some of the things that I see in this day, man, that you would have absolutely been physically disqualified from doing yesterday. Our people are dependent on us. Our youth are dependent on us.
That's what I'm talking about.
So when we get out there publicly calling each other, I guess I got to say it, niggas and bitches and hoes, and when we go there, how does that make us better than the people that we say we trying to help? So, you know, I got to be honest, man. I expect more out of Dr. Johnson. I expect much more out of him.
Thank you, brother.
I expect much more out of him than what I'm getting. Now, Tariq Nasheed, I don't know him as well. I know he's a filmmaker, but I don't think he's trying to be out there in the black leadership category, though he does have a role also. But I expect more out of Dr. Johnson. I really do. I expect more out of him.
Brother, we saying the same thing, and I say this until I get to my last question. I said last night, I said within the scope of Moorish science, Prophet Noble Ali makes a statement that to be a good Moorish leader, you must be a good influence. And no matter what you're up against, you have to hold your influence to be positive and to be good and to be endearing. Now, that don't mean be soft, because I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. But to be educated and to be able to articulate your point without the extra is a bonus when you guide now people or lead now with people. That's the only thing I really have a problem with.
Well, most all of our vitriol, our anger, and our frustration should be vented on the enemy. You know, I see some black men pissed off and ready to fight and all that. I want to see you telling me you're going to fight the white man. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to see you telling me that you're getting ready to go fight another brother. You tell me I got so many lists of white people in power that are oppressing us. I want to see you confront that warden, that mayor, that police officer. I want to see you confront the white man, not engage in the same tribalism that has killed us for thousands of years.
Indeed.
One tribal leader fighting another. So I'm striving hard myself to try to put forth a strong yet a positive environment. I mean, I'm controversial myself, but I'm trying to be less controversial in terms of getting into battles inside of the black community, because I already know that I got over here the Anti-Defamation League, I got Southern Poverty Law Center, I got a group of whites that are routinely attack me. And so I'm pretty much gearing up to fight with them, not with you or another brother. And I think that's the example we want to set. I think that we got to, to a great extent, get control of the movement.
I agree. I agree, brother. And that's something we need
to as men of the movement. Otherwise, it could devolve into a circus, and nobody want to hear nothing about this, what they call this black stuff. Because even though y'all don't use that term, that's what they say y'all doing, and they're going to say, well, all of it is a joke.
That's
so
right.
we have a moral duty to clean it up. And so that's why I'm excited about for those that are watching, the National Black Men Convention, April 17th through the 22nd in Washington, D.C. And it's covering economics, it's covering politics, it's covering culture, it's covering men and manhood. It's covering a united front. And inside of that, I'm looking forward to some serious dialogue about self-determination and about unity with my Moorish brothers and sisters.
Indeed. And I want to say, I got one last question, brother. And I got to big up you, because I watched you do a debate, and after it appeared to be nothing more than a circus and a sideshow, you ejected yourself up out of that and never seen it again. And so I salute you for that, brother.
I try not to get involved in it. I really don't want to get involved in it. But if you ask me about it, it's a mess.
Indeed. Now, I don't want to get on that. But I got to ask you one question. Now, a friend of mine, let me look at the chat. They're going to get mad at me real quick. A friend of mine, I haven't talked to in a few months, no while, Brother Polite. The Moors get mad. They don't like Brother Polite. They get mad. Come in Polite good. What question is, whatever is the case that happened in California, is that still open and you can't speak about it, or is that a closed case when I think Brother Polite or somebody got assaulted in California?
I got to talk with Polite. Basically, my situation with Polite is boiling down to whether or not he wants to continue his case. I have laid the foundation for his case, and I just had to see exactly what he wants to do with his case. I'm willing to pursue his case.
Okay.
And you know, litigation can be invasive, just in general, not speaking about his case.
Right.
Litigating cases means that you can ask a lot of questions, then a lot of questions get asked. You can ask for production of documents and demand, and then things will be demanded of you.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to sit with Polite. I mean, there's plenty of time in this case, and however he want to pursue his case, I'm willing to pursue his case. You know, if he's serious, I love Polite, but I gotta know is he serious?
Right. Polite,
I want to know if
Polite,
man. Polite has to get. I want to know, is he serious, or is it just a flash in the pan for him? You know, Polite makes him a splash. He gets some attention, and he goes somewhere else. He gets him a splash. And man, I love Polite, man. But
listen, Polite is one of the most charismatic guys that ever graced.
Polite is an artist. He is an artist. He's not what I don't say he's a revolutionary. Some of these people are artists, man. And you have to let them get their artistry on. You know what I mean?
I told somebody about Polite. People got mad at me because I don't know why they were so mad at Polite. They said Polite was working people and all that. I didn't see none of that. That ain't none of my business. Anyway, they got mad at me because I'm cool.
Let me go on the record though. Man, Polite had been good to me when I was supporting when I was working on behalf of Dr. York and traveling to jail and prison. Brother Polite was the man that took care of me. I think Polite has a lot of talent. You know, now if I really could get a hold of him, I would stop him from doing some things that he's doing. But overall, I uphold him. I think he has a lot of talent. But if he's just out there on his own, he might do anything. I would like to get a hold of his behind. Get a hold of his behind and give him some damn rules.
Look, this is what I told somebody. I said, man, y'all don't like me or get mad at me because I like Brother Polite. I said, man, y'all get around Polite for 2 hours. I guarantee you like him too.
Man, he's a likable guy. Polite's a likable guy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Polite's he's probably gonna be at this convention. I'm still, even though they say he's running around with white women, I have to investigate that. They say he's running around.
Do some stuff for effect, man.
Sometimes maybe he got a bad rap on that. I'm tempted to call him
shock value too, man. Come on. Polite do stuff for shock value too. Yeah.
I'm likely to call him when I get off this phone. Based on you, I'm likely to call him up and try to figure this situation.
Tell him to talk to Sahaka, and I'm gonna call him tomorrow. And you talk to him today, and I talk to him tomorrow. We're gonna double team him.
All right, we got him. He's our brother. We want to be clear on him. He's our brother, like Dr. Umar is and Brother Tariq is. We all brothers.
That's right.
And we're gonna stop. Hopefully, in 2018, we stop the gangbang.
Indeed.
All right.
Brother, I appreciate
Islam, I love you.
Islam, my brother. Love y'all.
Let me ask you one question. How do we navigate through the black issue? Now, y'all are staunchly. How do we navigate through that?
Listen, at this point in time, I think we have to, as they say in a meeting, we have to table that and get to the things that we can agree on so we can get moving forward. We have to table that for right now. What can we do today that we agree on? Okay. You know what I'm saying? What can
that makes sense.
Now, we agree something on politically. Now, you just said that you come to Baltimore, you can put some things in place, help me out with this and that in Baltimore politically. That's something that we agree on. And like Ishmael, we help you with. That's something we agree on. I think we can table that for right now. That's not much of a big deal because at the end of the day, whether I got on a fez or whether you got on an oak or whether you got on a red, black, and green patch, like you say, when that European coming, he ain't caring about none of that at the end of the day.
That's
so
right.
I think for one, I think we can talk about that. We don't need to talk about it in public to make it seem like it's some conflict. I think we have to sit down and talk about that and see how we can get on some common ground with that. Now,
and what I would say is, I think an important part of nationhood is statehood. You know, we can learn examples of how states operate in the United States. You know, South Carolina is not trying to be like North Carolina. You know, if you ask somebody from North Carolina, they'll say that the sky is Carolina blue. Because they got pride in their Carolina blue. and you don't call it sky blue. And then you go down to somewhere else, they got pride in Georgia. So we can understand that we're Moors. And you can respect the fact that we're Moors and we're going to have an individual identity at the table of statehood. We just have to get more familiar with statehood. We're not familiar with statehood as a people. We're not used to being a black nation. But we need to understand that black is a social term. It's a social descriptive term. But if somebody wants to embrace their blackness and understand their black identity, we're all African people. So if I'm calling myself a Moor, I'm still African. It's not going to change. I'm still going to take pride in who and what I am. But you understand that my state is Moor. Someone else's state is the RBG. I see Tahaka catch hell when he flies his red, black, and green flag. People saying, how dare you have that red, black, and green flag up on camera? Moor? And he has to explain that his love for the red, the black, and the green, and his love for Marcus Garvey and having to defend it proudly. So we just have to understand and respect each other's brilliance in our own statehood. We have to get more familiar with what a nation truly is, bro.
From what I've understood, that Prophet Noble Drew Ali had a high degree of respect for Marcus Garvey.
Absolutely. He turned Marcus Garvey the forerunner of himself.
That's correct.
The equivalent Marcus Garvey like John to Jesus. So yeah, I don't know what the conversation is about. Like that. I changed my setup because you was coming to the house. The only reason I did that, brother, I changed the setup. You know what I mean? I ain't want to appear to be pro RBG right now. You know, because Moors, they be getting on me. No, I'm playing. But yeah, that's what it is, brother. Please get my information. I got you.
Take it from Ishmael.
Information from Ish, and I'm gonna text you in a few minutes. You know what I mean?
Look forward to your participation in the convention, and I'm coming to see you, and I look forward to our relationship, seriously. And I thank God that Brother Ishmael has facilitated this, seriously.
That's what I'm talking about.
Respect to y'all.
So we're gonna close up. I'm trying to be your friend. Come on. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. I said you ain't never met a more like me, and you ain't never ever gonna meet one again. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. I said you ain't never met a more like me, and you ain't never ever gonna meet one again. I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. They don't, I used to be a thug, until I met the prophet. Now I'm all about love, truth, peace, and freedom. Till I return to Allah, one day we gon' meet her. I'm all about justice, that's the focus, that's the message. Sometimes AGIs make me wanna forget the lessons. I be all up in my passion, from all the Moorish passion. All things considered, I start laughing. A grown man with a ponytail, another calling up Neanderthal, and he don't fail. I mean, for real, this is what it comes to, my brother. We got nothing done to do to talk down to each other. Yeah, we can be scholarly, but we can get gulled. We are the children of a father and the best of a mother has nursed us all. And first of all, we people want to ping, trying to murk us all. You need to chill, my brother. Tell the elder the same, cause on the hood, my man, I'm really about them things. I can take the feds off and get back in the low. Every turn to the state where they used to call me dope, but no, I'm rolling with the prophet of the law. What love, not war. Standing on that floor, and I'm holding the square. The compass and the axe that might be too deep. I get off track. See, I prophet was an adept. Do you know what that is? An Egyptian adept. It's a brother who lived out of universal science developed in the now. We call it Islam, but it's the same, my child. Sit at the foot of a master. I train you up, but I might have to bang you up. I still love you. And those that's talking that this ain't Islam, everything the prophet brought is in the Quran. All that other stuff prostrate and cover up is just the start. And there's space to me to launch the heart. You can dress like a step, you can dress like an herb. While the motion recognizes unifies the word. You can say what you want about Dr. Joe, but he gave us different variations of the same thought. You don't appreciate that. You don't appreciate me. Appreciate the holy and divine Jubilee. People refuse to admit it. He the first without the village. Europeans hope that the Moors will forget it, but we here, strong, alive and well, resurrected from hell. What a story to tell, so pay attention and listen and consider the facts. You know it's humanly impossible for you to be black. I guess the Chinaman is yellow, a Mexican is brown. Just think for a second how ridiculous it sounds. We can turn it around, but we must unite. It's over we don't have to fight, because if we have to fight, you know how we get. I still learn to love. No, I'm not dead yet. So work with me, fam, and I'ma work with you. And let's all work together and do what we gotta do. Cause on the real side, we haven't made no progress since 1929 when the prophet made. Plus we got an Asiatic president, men marrying men, cycle shooting up the club, and all see his own sin. And those that say they conscious, that took your fuck. Move straight to Hollywood, straight living it up, and y'all picking it up, straight cheesing and grinning. But it was your bread to help us set it off in the beginning. Be careful what you put in your soul, cause it'll blind you. Unfortunately, the people get paid to disguise you, disguise you. Oh yeah, I wanna be your friend. Peace and love. Let me be your
You gotta come rap that. You gotta rap that. You gotta rap that at the 10,000 man march. You gotta drop that, man. You gotta come drop that.
They ain't gonna never be no more like this, brother.
You got to come drop that. You got to come drop that at the main event at this convention. You have to drop that.
Brother, put me on the roster and let's get it. Let's go.
I'm with it, man. I love you. Love you, man.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Let me be your friend. Peace and love. Oh yeah, you ain't never met a more.
Man, that was nice.